The Los Angeles Chargers may be hiding a secret weapon, and fans didn't see this coming. A player once doubted, now turning heads in camp. Coaches are stunned. Teammates are noticing. Something big is changing inside the Chargers locker room. This could be the turning point the Chargers need. Stay with us, because what you're about to hear might shift your view of the upcoming season. Quentin Johnston, remember that name? Just a few months ago, many questioned if he belonged in the NFL. Dropped passes, missed chances, fading confidence. But now, the story is changing, and fast. Chargers staff are saying Johnston looks like a brand new player, not just physically, mentally too. He's stronger, sharper, hungrier. Reports say he's completely transformed his mindset, and it's showing every time he steps on the field. One insider even said, he's not the same guy we saw 6 months ago. Before we reveal what's behind this shocking turnaround, do us a quick favor. Subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and turn on the bell icon so you never miss the latest Chargers updates. All right, let's get back to the action. Johnston is in a tight race. He's fighting to hold his spot against names like Mike Williams and rookie Tre Harris. And with young talent rising fast, there's no room for mistakes. But if what we're hearing is true, Johnston could go from forgotten to unstoppable. The battle inside the Chargers wide receiver room is heating up, and Quentin Johnston is right in the middle of it. He's not just trying to impress, he's fighting to stay in the rotation. Can he earn the team's trust and lock down that number 2 or number 3 spot? That's the real question. Coaches have taken notice of his work this offseason. Reports from inside the Chargers camp describe him as a completely different receiver compared to 6 months ago. Stronger roots, better timing, improved hands. Some are calling it a year 3 leap. But let's look at the numbers. As a rookie in 2023, Johnston had a tough start. 38 catches, 431 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 drops. Not the breakout fans hoped for, but 2024, much better, 55 catches, 711 yards, 8 touchdowns, though 7 drops. That's still a concern. Meanwhile, younger receivers like Ladd McConkey have exploded onto the scene, putting up big numbers and making an instant impact. That's the kind of pressure Johnston is facing. Still, head coach Jim Harbaugh has spoken highly of him. Strong praise from a coach who doesn't hand out compliments lightly. The big question now, can Johnston silence the doubts and rise above the competition? Stay tuned, because this wide receiver race is far from over. Let's talk about what's really heating up in Chargers camp, the comparison between Quentin Johnston and rookie Tre Harris. At first glance, these two receivers look nearly identical on paper. Both stand at 6'2". Johnston weighs 208 pounds, Harris is just slightly lighter at 205. Their speed? Almost the same. Both run around a 4.5-second 40-yard dash. And when it comes to athletic explosion, they're both impressive. But here's where things get interesting. Production. Tre Harris has been a reliable weapon. Before his recent injury, he was on pace to break records in the SEC. That's no small feat. He made 60 catches on just 76 targets. That's an incredible efficiency rate. Yes, he had 5 drops, but overall, his average yards per catch was off the charts. 17, even 18 yards at times. Now, let's look at Johnston. Back in college, his numbers told a different story. His drop rate was troubling, near the bottom among all wide receivers in the country. In 2022 alone, he had 8 drops. That pattern didn't suddenly appear in the NFL. It followed him. That's the key difference between these two players. Harris is consistent. Johnston is explosive, but risky. The Chargers coaching staff knows this. That's why this competition is so intense. Johnston may have the experience, but Harris brings reliability and big playability. It's not just about talent anymore. It's about trust. And right now, every rep, every catch, and every mistake counts. On the surface, Quentin Johnston's college stats looked solid. 60 catches, over 1,000 yards. But there's something important hiding behind those numbers. It took him 14 games to hit that mark. He played in the Big 12, a conference built for offense, where defenses often get left behind. And still, it took 97 targets and 375 passing snaps to get there. Now let's compare that to Tre Harris. He played just 8 games and came dangerously close to matching Johnston's numbers. He needed only 76 targets and 214 snaps to do it, and the defense knew the ball was going his way, but still couldn't shut him down. That tells you something. Tre Harris brings efficiency, sharp routes, reliable hands. Johnston? He's explosive, yes, but he needed more time, more plays, and more chances to deliver. So where does that leave us now? Can Johnston be a different player this season? Yes, absolutely. Is he good enough to hold back a rising talent like Tre Harris all year long? That's a tough ask. But could he improve so much that even Mike Williams gets pushed out of the starting lineup? Honestly, yes. And if you're a Chargers fan, that's something to be excited about. It's not about tearing one guy down, it's about raising the bar for everyone. This is exactly what new leadership is bringing: competition, accountability, and results. And that leads us to a deeper question: the difference between the two regimes. One drafted Johnston, the other brought in Harris, and that contrast is telling. Let's be honest, if you're a Chargers fan, you'd rather see a 23-year-old first-round talent step up and dominate the way Mike Williams once did, not just because of potential, but because of value. You want the younger guy to shine, the guy with speed, size, and room to grow at a lower cost. That's not just smart football, it's smart business. And this brings us to a deeper truth: the clear divide between two different Chargers regimes. The previous regime used the 21st overall pick in 2023 to draft Quentin Johnston, a move that raised eyebrows. Solid athletic traits, yes, but raw, inconsistent, and unproven on the biggest stage. Fast forward just 1 year, and the new regime enters with a bold move of its own. They draft Tre Harris, a receiver with nearly identical athletic traits, but with far greater college production, in a tougher conference, and over multiple seasons. Here's the twist: they got him 34 picks later than Johnston. One feels like a gamble, the other feels like a steal. And that contrast tells you everything you need to know. This new leadership isn't chasing hype. They're building depth, competition, and smart value across the board. Look back at that 2023 class: Johnston at 21, Henley, Davis, McFadden, Matlock, Duggan. A mix of potential, but not a lot of early impact. Now the Chargers are shifting gears, replacing risky picks with players who produce, not just test well. That's not just a draft strategy. It's a culture change. This new Chargers regime is changing the game, and it shows in how they draft. Instead of reacting to short-term needs, they're planning with precision. No panic picks, no reaching just to fill a spot. They study the board, understand player value, and make every move count. They didn't draft a wide receiver just because the room looked a little older. They didn't fall into the trap of replacing names with names. They focused on production, potential, and long-term value. That's what separates good front offices from great ones. Now, hearing that Quentin Johnston has completely transformed himself, that's the kind of surprise every fan hopes for. He's changed his body. He's reshaped his mindset. He looks like a different player. But here's the real question: can it last? Can he carry this new version of himself into the season and keep it going when the pressure hits? Because flashes of improvement in the offseason are one thing. Doing it under the lights, in real games, with the season on the line, that's what truly matters. The Chargers have laid the foundation for something bigger. Now it's time to see who's really ready to rise.